Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been playing a ton of Forza Motorsport since it came out in early access a few days ago, and I had forgotten how fun multiplayer in Forza Motorsport can be when you're not dealing with dirty drivers and rammers in general. And that's one of the things that this latest Forza Motorsport game gets right. The races, at least during this early access window, have been very clean for the most part. I don't know how much worse things are gonna get once we get out of the early access period and the game becomes available for the general public in October 10th. But as for now, things are looking very good and I've been enjoying a lot. This is the very first online race I did in Forza Motorsport. If you haven't played the game yet, there is a qualifier series which you have to do 3 races in the series to get a rating for your driver. So after you do these 3 races, you're gonna get graded on your driver rating, which is your skill level, and your safety rating, which is how clean you drive, how you respect track limits, how you don't collide with other cars and stuff like that. And this is you need to do it. This is not optional. You need to do this qualifier series first before you get access to the other series available in the multiplayer. So this first race we're gonna be doing in Hakone, which is one of the new tracks in Forza Motorsport, is based on a real place in Japan. The track looks good. I really like how the corners flow, how everything feels very high speed. But this first race, I did a very stupid mistake, and I didn't realize that going in, I didn't realize that this practice ends in timer isn't only for practice. In my mind, I thought that once this practice timer ran out, we would start the qualifier and then the race. But no. The practice timer, the time you have allotted for practice, also applies for qualifying. So unless you pause the game and go to race, then qualify, you're not gonna be able to set a time. And that's exactly what happened here. I set at 1.8.6, which would put me in first place. And I thought it was good. I thought I was set. I thought I was gonna start in first place on the next race. But as it turns out, that was my time for the practice. And this is confusing. They should put it as practice or qualifier. If it's practice, then it's practice, not qualifier in the same time slot. And I set a 1.8, but I actually improved upon that time and set a 1.7.9, which now puts me in first place. But let's skip over to the actual race. So since we haven't set a time like I thought we did, we're gonna start out in 10th place. Which isn't that bad. It's gonna give me a sense of how the competition is in this game, and this is one of the new features in Forza Motorsport. You now can set your fuel load before you start the race, and this also applies for the qualifier. So if you want to set just the right amount so you have enough fuel to do the qualifier laps or your race, you can do that. I'm gonna set it to 8, which is just above the 7 laps of this race, and I'm gonna start out on mediums, which is the default set of tires that the game puts you on. And I don't know this track very well. At this point, I might have raced this track maybe 4 or 5 times while I played through the career mode. So I'm not familiar with the braking points as much as I would. And yeah, let's see how that goes. So there are only 2 drivers behind us. We're not dead last. And this beginning of this race is kind of weird because there's this guy going off the track. I don't know why they did that. And I get sideswiped. Not intentional, of course, that this happens. But it made me lose a position. But not for too long because I'm going to get it back. And not only that, but I'm gonna get a few more positions in a bit soon. This guy kind of turns into me and basically takes himself out of the race. And this is something that it's kind of a legacy thing in Forza Motorsport, because the stickiness of the cars from the previous Forza Motorsport is still here. Not as bad as Forza Motorsport 7, but it's still here. This guy tried to mess me up. He went off the track, so good luck. This track is all about maintaining momentum. Like I said, this is a high-speed track, so you want to make the most out of every single corner. And by this point, I was still learning where to follow the braking line, where to ignore it. And there are some points like this next corner here where the braking line tells us to brake earlier than we should. We can get away with braking a little bit later, so we can cut the inside of this corner to get a better exit into this fairly long straight. There's this kind of S here, but you can take it pretty much flat out, so it doesn't affect your speed at all. And we are trying to keep up with the pack. We don't want to fall behind too much, because the first place already has a nearly 4-second gap over us. This is another instance where the braking line tells you to brake much earlier than you should. This is something that I'm gonna learn over the next few races, but on this one sorry, but on this one I didn't know about that. And we have the opportunity to gain 3 positions here. Let's see how this plays out. I get a warning for avoidable collision. It's not always that this game is gonna give you a penalty. Sometimes it's gonna give you a warning for minor stuff. Sometimes it's gonna give you a penalty. We make contact here. This guy loses a little bit of time. Get contact from behind, but we managed to squeeze right between those 2 cars and get 2 more places. So we're now up in 5th place, now in 4th, because that guy's pretty much out of the race at this point. And now our job is to try and close the gap between 3rd place, Bearded Twinkie. Seward is kind of he's way ahead of us. There's no way we're gonna be able to make up 4.3 seconds in the span of 4 laps, especially when we don't know the track that well just yet. But to my advantage, the 3rd place has a 1.3 gap, but a 1 second penalty. So he's basically 0.3 ahead of us. So it should be manageable. We should be able to catch up to him. We're all in the same car. We're all driving the same Honda. But what I didn't know in this first race is that you can actually use a tune setup. That I didn't know that when going in. That's something I'm gonna realize by the last race of this video. And you can download a tune setup, you can equip it, but this tune setup cannot change your PI. This is mostly adjustments to your car aerodynamics and how it behaves on the track, rather than a performance bump that a tune setup would normally give you. This is not the case here. Bearded Twinkle got 2nd place. He overtook Pink Road Cone, got ahead of him, and which is gonna be interesting, because I don't know if he got another penalty, or that's something that Forza does differently than Gran Turismo. In Gran Turismo, you can run off your penalty in the track. There are zones where you're forced to slow down to kind of run out your penalty. In Forza Motorsport, the penalty sticks right through the end of the race. But there is something there is something weird that is gonna happen now, which is an issue that I've been having on the PC version, more specifically the Steam version. I don't know if that's happening on the Microsoft Store or the Xbox version, but the game pretty much falls apart, and you can see the track. As you can see, there's a black gap here where there's no texture, there's no 3D mesh, there's nothing. There's just this black thing, and it kind of makes it hard to judge certain parts of the track, like these parts where we have these colored stripes off to the side of the tracks. That's fine, because we can tell where the track limits are, but this part right here, we can tell whether we're on or off the line. So, and that's an issue that I've run twice in multiplayer and a number of other times in single player. I have to either restart the game or wait to finish the race. Usually the next race doesn't have this issue, but as you can see, the boards to the side of the tracks in the in the I forgot the name, but the place where the people are completely disappeared. People are floating in the air. And that's gonna be something that's gonna mess me up quite a bit, because there are gonna be certain spots over the course of this final stretch of the race where I'm gonna go slightly off track, and that's gonna cost me a couple tenths, which is gonna make the guys behind us catch up very quickly, because this is a high-speed track. So even if you're losing a couple tenths every sector, that's gonna cost you a lot. That's gonna cost more than a track would. And here I learned another thing that's new in Forza Motorsport: the tires. The tires, they don't seem to wear out gradually. It seems that up until the halfway mark, you're fine. Once you cross into the last two-thirds, once you cross into the last third of the tire life, your tires go out suddenly. Like, it's really abrupt. And that caught me off by surprise, because I thought I was going to be able to take that corner easily, but the car decided to lose a lot of grip. And now, as you can see, my left front tire is on the yellow, and that's not good in this game, because once it reaches yellow, your tires are pretty much gone. You're better off going in for new tires than trying to make them sick. Unless you have a bigger gap, it's not really worth it. And you're gonna see that I'm gonna be going wide on a lot of these corners because of the tires. And keep in mind that I'm on medium. This shouldn't happen by this point of this race. We should be fine. But because we got involved in a number of accidents, our tires went a lot quicker than they should. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. And yeah, we're gonna finish this race in fourth place. The bearded Twinkie probably got a bigger gap after we lost grip on that corner. So yeah, but that's a good first experience, because it taught me what to expect and what to do in the multiplayer. So moving on over to the second race, this time around Mazda Laguna Seca. This time we're doing a proper qualifying lap, qualifying run, and that's another thing that I think Forza Motorsport gets very right. And again, this is not me comparing Gran Turismo to Forza. I like both games. I play them both, each for different reasons, but that's something that I prefer in Forza, in how they structure their qualifiers. In Gran Turismo, you have an entire week to improve your lap time. So whatever lap time is set, that's going to be the lap time that the game is going to use to decide the starting grid for whatever race you're joining over the course of an entire week. Which means that by the end of the week, the times, they're going to be so close to one another that the races that you're going to be taking part in, they are pretty much static, at least in the grade lobby that I am. I think I am a BA or AA driver, I don't remember, but the races, there isn't a whole lot that happens in the races in Gran Turismo 7. If you start out in 6, there's a good chance you're gonna finish in 6, unless someone makes a big mistake or you make a big mistake and you lose a couple positions. In Forza Motorsport, you have no more than 3 laps to qualify. And that's for each race. It doesn't matter if you're doing the same race around the same track in the same series. You're always setting a best out of 3 lap before a race starts. And I think that's a lot more organic, because instead of having an entire week to set a time, and then you happen to set a time that's way beyond your average pace, here in Forza, your lap times are kind of more representative of your actual pacing race, because you only have 3 laps to make them count. So I like it a lot, and that's a system that I hope they don't change, because it works really well to judge pacing of each driver. So we set a 1.10. We're still not using a tune setup. We're still on medium tires, and we managed a 1.10, which puts us in first place for the start of the race. Again, we're gonna set up our fuel load so that we have just enough, a little bit more fuel to do the 7 laps of this race. And I really like that the game gives you an estimate of the number of laps that you can do on that fuel, and also the average lap time that you need to hit before you start to waste a little bit more fuel than you're supposed to. So if you don't have the pace to keep that estimated time, you're gonna burn a lot more fuel than you would. So you're probably gonna run out quicker than you normally would, right? So yeah, let's start this race, and we're starting out in first place, and I'm gonna cut this race to the end, towards the end, because not a whole lot happens. We finished this race with over a 12-second gap over the second place, so that was kind of unexpected, but it wasn't really fun. But that's just my second race. I'm sure things are gonna get better. Now in this third race, that's when I realized that you can download a tune setup. I just decided to try to see if it worked, and it did. You're gonna see that there is a message that calls out that the setup file is locked. That's not the setup that you're trying to apply. There's something new in Forza Motorsport, in this latest Forza Motorsport, that I really like, is that if you have a tune setup, it doesn't matter if it's a stock one or if it's another tune setup that you created. If you load another tune setup, the game is going to create an auto-save point that you can revert back to in case you want to I don't know, if you didn't like the tune setup that you downloaded, you can always revert back to your last tune setup. That's a quality of life improvement that I very much appreciate, because sometimes you download tune setups that you don't like, and when you have a ton of tune setups downloaded at once, it gets kind of hard to remember what was your last tune setup. But anyway, skipping over to the qualifier, this time we managed to set a 1.8.6 with the tune setup, which is 2 seconds faster than our previous time. That's because of the tune setup, but also because of the tires that we're running. This tune setup forces soft tires, which is good, but also bad, because, like I said, tires go really quick. Once they cross the last third of the tire's life, they're pretty much gone. And in soft tires, it's gonna mean that we're gonna run out a lot quicker. And as you can see, I made a big mistake right at the beginning. We get a 0.2 penalty, which is not gonna help us. But I think the thing that hurts the most is the fact that we went off the track into the sand. That's not gonna help us on soft tires, because that's definitely gonna wear our tires out a little bit quicker than it should. But we're still leading by 1 second, technically 0.8 because of the penalty. Like I said, you can run your penalties out during the race. The penalties stick through the end, and then the game calculates your time and subtracts the penalty. Another mistake, I go off the track, that's gonna cost me tire and also a little bit more penalty. So we now have a 0.7 penalty, which is the exact same as the second place. But that's not an issue, because we definitely have the pace. But towards the end of the race, on the very last lap, we get this message calling out severe tire wear. That's not good. And if you see the tire graph, we're on the red pretty much. Our tires are pretty much gone. And you're gonna see I'm gonna go a little bit wide on this turn right here. The next one, I'm gonna go wide as well, almost off the track actually, because I didn't brake earlier. Almost no, we went off the track. And by this point, we have a 2.5 second penalty, but we have a nearly 11-second gap between us and the second place. and we were able to make it work even though we had our tires were pretty much gone. But that's another thing that I learned in this race, is that you need to be careful when you have your tires at the end of its life. And by the end of the race, you get a safety rating. I qualified for A, the maximum is S, and my skill rating is towards the top. The maximum is 5,000. We have 4,786, which is very good. It's pretty close to the top. And in theory, that should mean that we're gonna be paired up with more skilled players. But anyways, that's been the qualifier series. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in my next video.